Hey, I'm your friendly neighborhood radical joy coach, aka your rest friend, Jordan Maney, and this is the Rest Lab podcast. Hey friend, so this one, I'm going to try and make this quick. I like to keep these under 30 minutes. I'm going to try and get this to like a tight 15, maybe less. But I wrote about this for the Rest Stop newsletter, linked in the show notes if you would like to subscribe, a couple weeks ago. And I want to talk about it again. Rest, the work of rest leads you to ask for help. It's kind of the point. We don't want to talk about that enough. We talk about rest as this exclusive thing. We still talk about rest as this thing that's like aspirational and it's just a necessity. I will say that every episode, if necessary, for people to get it. Rest is a necessary necessity for our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. That's just what time it is. But when you start to rest and you start to acknowledge and honor your capacity, it breaks down the idea, myth, lie, fallacy of rugged individualism with such a quickness. We need people. People who say, oh, I pick myself up by my bootstraps, never talk about the people who made the boots, never talk about the people underneath the boots, never talk about the fact that, like, did you pick it? They're not even acknowledging that somebody else tied the bootstraps for them, laced the bootstraps. Like, that is not what time it is. You need people. We need people. I need people. And when you start to rest, the very act of like taking a break, the very act of telling people, hey, I can't do that, requires you to acknowledge your capacity and your limitations. You are a finite resource. You have a finite amount of energy. This is not Interview with a Vampire Baby. I'm not Lestat. Love that show, by the way. I gotta make a whole separate podcast about that show. I love it so much. But we're not meant to live forever. We're not meant to be everything to everyone. We're not meant to be endless vehicles of energy and time and attention. We're just not. That's not how this works. We need people. Our best work happens with people, is when we collaborate with one another. And rest is such a vehicle for seeing that and understanding that. And the reason I say this episode is titled Rest is Asking for Help is because I know who I'm talking to, bleeding hearts who love to help other people but hate to be helped themselves. What is that? What is that? It's a sense of martyrdom. It is a sense of being afraid of not being worth the pedestal that someone put you on. But baby, pedestals are for art, okay? Jump off of that. Because all you're going to do is inevitably fall. You can't stay up there forever. You need to be down here with the rest of us where we're having fun. Come join us. Come play with us. Rest is about capacity management. Rest breaks down, again, that idea of rugged individualism. Rest highlights quickly. You need community. I need community. We need community. We need to be with people. We need to stop being so afraid of asking for help. When I was a wedding planner, I will never forget this client interaction. I will never, ever, ever, ever forget this client interaction. They had a friend who was doing their centerpieces, and they just wanted to test it at the venue. They weren't going to show up, but their friend was going to be there. All I needed to do was like bring stuff inside the venue. And I was like, I had a bunch of things in my arms. I'm just like trying to hold everything and also open the door. And this woman says to me so flippantly, she's like, well, you look like a girl who's comfortable schlepping stuff around. And I just remember wanting to both cuss her out and also cry. because I don't want to be comfortable schlepping things around. I don't want to be comfortable feeling like I can't rely on people to like hold me and hold my emotional needs and like be with me and not feel like I have to perform cheeriness or perform like happiness. And being in the wedding industry is a cluster jam on another level that we can talk about later. But in this particular instance, I was just kind of like, I don't actually want to be that way. And also screw you. Don't hush your mouth. Don't talk to me like that. And I just hated it. And yet so often, you know, it still took me many years to seriously, and even now, working through asking, working through making myself feel safe to ask for help. And it's funny because the dichotomy is being the first one. I want to be the first one people ask for help. I want to show up and help everybody, but I can't allow myself to be helped. What is that? That's a fear of being vulnerable. That's a fear of being seen as we are. That's a fear that if we are not achieving something, we don't deserve attention or affection. That's a bunch of stuff tied up, right? But we need to be able to work through that, work on that so that we can continue to rest. You got to ask for help. Maybe the rest you need requires you to ask somebody to watch your kids once a week. Maybe the rest you want requires you to ask for a raise at your job. Maybe the work or the rest you need requires you to have a difficult conversation with a partner and ask for a divorce child, maybe, or ask for something else. I don't want to immediately run to a divorce, but like ask for something else. Maybe the rest you need requires you to ask yourself what you really want for your life. But rest starts with asking for help. Rest starts with recognizing there is no way that you are going to, what's UT's motto? What starts here changes the world, or saves the world. What starts here changes the world. Starts, baby. There is no way you're going to get to the finish line having said, oh, I did it all by myself. And who are you going to have there to celebrate with you? To celebrate you? Nobody. What good is that? We need folks. We need people. We need villages. We need communities. And the first step is acknowledging that. The first step is understanding that. The first step to getting better rest is recognizing, man, I need to belong to people. Who do I belong to? Who am I in community with? Who am I accountable to? Who do I support? Who do I allow to support me? If you feel like you can't ask for little tiny things, ask your neighbor for sugar. Ask your partner for a back rub. Ask for PTO that I know that you're not taking, but you need to take at your job. Sorry. I didn't mean to be so aggressively loving in that moment, but take your PTO. Where are you not asking for help? How are you not asking for help? And again, like I said last episode, this work is reflective and reflexive. I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying it to myself, friend. Where are we not asking for help? Because in our community work, we try and do everything on our own. We don't tell people, I need help with this. Who's going to help? We don't want to be seen as a burden. We don't want to be seen as difficult. We don't want people to see us or perceive us. We want to be known as the good girl or the good boy or the good person or the always dependable, always available, always blah, 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 blah. And again, we've talked about this. And then what happens? You do that for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Eventually your body breaks down. Because you're not Superwoman. You're Supergirl, Wonder woman, you know what I'm trying to say. You're not a superhero, babes. You are incredibly, fantastically, brilliantly human. Human. That means that you are fallible. That means that you have faults. That means that you need breaks. That means that you need time off. You need time to wonder and wander. You don't operate as a machine because you are not a machine. You're human. So I say all this to say, get off that pedestal. Don't let the fear of being seen as a human being keep you from asking for the help that you need. And you may be saying, okay, Jordan, that's cute, but I don't have anybody. I do not have anybody I could ask for help. And maybe there is where you start. How do you build community when you're not used to operating in one? How do you build friendships, aligned friendships? Community partnerships, friendships or relationships with your neighbors. How do you build that? How do you be in that? If you feel like you have no one to ask, how do you build a world where you do have people to ask, where you can ask for help, where you can trust someone to ask to answer that call, and also where you can make peace when other people are honoring their capacity and maybe can't meet that need for you. But you can still ask. It is still important for you to ask. Rest requires you to be in community with somebody, baby. It just does. And if you don't have that right now, this is the time. This is the time. And I'm not even trying to shade, because I know it can be incredibly accessible for some folks who either can't meet in person, don't want to meet in person. I get that. But it is important to, at least, even if it's online, to have local community. Someone in your area that, like, if, knock on wood, something were to happen to your vehicle, or you needed a ride, or you needed to talk to somebody about organizing rides for election day, or you just wanted to share a meal with somebody. Having people local to you is so incredibly important, y'all. Like, so incredibly important. So I said I would try to keep us under 15 minutes, and I believe I am going to do just that. I just wanted to get this off my chest, that rest sometimes is asking for help, and sometimes we can't get rest without asking for help. Don't let that be the barrier you decide you don't want to surmount. Don't let that be a closed door when really it's not even a speed bump. It's it's just a momentary, like, oh man, I gotta go talk to some people. I gotta go build up a support system. And that doesn't have to be hundreds of people. That can be 2. Sometimes it's just 1. Doesn't make it any less necessary, friend. It does not make it any less necessary. I say that with love. I hope that you are able to rest. I hope that you are able to enjoy the life around you. I will be here for you as always, and I will talk to you next time. Until then, rest easy.